we were working on this last time, we found out that the rear drive shaft was too short that I had gotten. So I got a new drive shafts. They are a little heftier than the ones that I had bought before. But I think they're going to work out perfectly. So I'm going to put these drive shafts on. I'll tell you something about all these parts for this TRX4, Timu, whatever, Traxxas. They're all different. They say it fits a Traxxas. And I'm having trouble getting anything to fit. Okay, the pin goes through the hole. Why won't it go through here? I'm going to have to take out this dang motor, transmission, to get these parts in. Alright, so we got the rear one in. With the front one, I'm going to have to remove these links. So that I can pull it away from the axle. Pull the axle away from the transmission to get these drive shafts in this one. Okay, my goodness, that should not have been that hard. Okay, we got it. So we finally got ourselves a slider. Alright, so now we got the servo in. And we've got the motor, we've got the drive shaft, shocks, everything is in here. And these shocks, I'm going to have to, I don't like the way they're sitting, so we're going to move them. I just stripped out a screw. Lots of adjustability on this chassis, which is probably something we're going to need once we find out if the body fits or not. Motor, ESC, servo, shocks, axles, links, drive shafts, everything is in. Now the next thing we're going to work on is the body. Alright, so the body and the wheels and tires. The wheels and tires and a million little screws for the wheels and tires and the body with a bunch of little parts. And G mode makes the body. So where do we start? I got this wheel put together and tire, and it actually is pretty good. Now The axles came with hubs and pins. Now all we got to do is find them. All this little work is tough on these old fingers, man. Alright, so get a pin in here. Oh my goodness. That was almost too easy. The hub, the wheel, the tire, and all right. This next part is tedious. Putting all these wheels and tires together. And all the little screws. And it can take days. What feels like days. To get them all in. Such is the world of beadlocks. Alright, so these little beadlocks, they come with foams. They're very squishy. I mean, these are some squishy tires. Putting them together is not difficult most of the time. I already did one, but I don't remember. I did it a while back. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is put the clamping ring inside the wheel, tire, sorry, and make sure that the bead is sitting on that in there. These are simple to put in. And then you take the ring on this thing actually is the bead lock on these. So you put that in, make sure that it's pushing down on the bead evenly, and then take the inner part of the wheel and line up the holes. That's the hardest part. Put this back in and tighten them down. Don't tighten them down too far, because you just pop the bead right off the flipping thing. You just want to get it one started. And that's the hardest part. Getting the holes lined up. Shoot. This has been one of those days, guys. I'm going to have to edit the heck out of this video because I've been cussing some of this stuff. You know, my phone's going crazy. I cannot see in there to line up the holes. And once you get them in there, you can't turn them. That's some sticky wheel compound. My goodness. It'll be great once we get them rolling. Finally. Once you get one started, get the one across from it started, then it's simple. And see, the bead popped out right here. So now I got to loosen that back up and get the bead underneath the wheel. And that's the hard part. So now I have to loosen this one and try this again. You don't want to over tighten anything until you get them all started. Because if you pop that bead out, you'd just be cussing trying to get it back in. I am having trouble with this bead. It's still popping out. I'm not even sure how I even did the first one and not get it to pop out. But this is the way it goes. With these bead locks, you gotta really be careful. They're so small. You get the bead over the top of that ring, and then tighten the tire down, wheel down, over the bead. Alright, I think I got it. Kind of amazing how many parts and how many tools you gotta have to do something. And empty out the billion screws. Carl Sagan used to say. If you don't know who Carl Sagan is, look it up. Billions and billions. He was talking about stars. We're talking about screws. Okay, there's two different types of screws. The bigger screws go in the back of the wheel, and the smaller ones go in the ring on the front of the wheel. But once you get them all started, then draw them down, crisscrossing. Do not go in a circle. You'll pull that bead out, and then you'll be mad. So just keep crisscrossing. Go across from one, tighten it a little bit, go to the next one, tighten it, then go across from that one, tighten it, then go to the one next to it, across, and then tighten until you get them all drawn down. Like I said, it's not real difficult, but it is time consuming. Now I finally got one tight. You can tell when they're tight, it will stop. And you don't want to over tighten them because you break these aluminum. But I don't think these are aluminum though. They're magnetic. Let's see. No, they are. They're aluminum. They're made out of aluminum. They are. You can break them. The steel ones come with some of them. Alright. Got all the beads in. Now these teeny tiny screws. Grab a hold of my daggone wrench. And you kind of want to do the same thing. Go around, put one in each side. Crisscross. Because you're still pulling on the bead with these. Or pushing on the bead, I guess you would say. When you put these in. And these rings are very thin. You can bend them real easy. So if you over tighten them, you'll bend them. They'll buckle. Puke out on you. So just go in and put in screws back and forth. Don't go around in a circle or you'll have problems. And you just keep doing that. Slowly tighten them up. Like I said, it's not difficult, real hard, but it is time consuming. And I'm not going to sit here and waste your time watching me put in a bunch of little screws. So I will be back when I get them all in. Alright, so while I was putting the screws in, I broke one. Now this has happened to me once before. These aluminum screws are very difficult, or very easy to break. They're so small. And I knew better than to torque down on it, and I torqued down on it too much, and I broke it off. So now I got an open spot, and it's impossible to get those out of there. So I'm going to show you what I've done, and I've never had any problems. This is really only the second time I've ever had this happen, and I've built $20 vehicles maybe, or more. So take that little part, take some Gorilla Glue, the gel type, and put a little on that screw and stick it in that hole where it broke off. Or put the glue in the hole and then stick the screw head in where it broke off. It will, you never, and when you have to take these apart, if you ever do, these screw parts, this part does not need to be ever come out. And now I just lost the head. Oh my goodness. I probably, oh there it is. Okay, so I stick it on the end of the wrench, put some of this Gorilla Glue on it, and pop it in that hole, and you'll never know the difference. And then you can put a little Gorilla Glue on top of it if you want. It'll dry up, it'll never come out. Like I said, you'll never know it. Nobody will ever know. You guys know only because I'm telling you. But otherwise, you'll never know. Alright, back to finishing up these tires. I'll be right back. Alright, so now we have ourselves a roller, a little more than a roller. It's got an ESC and motor in it, so, and a servo. So we basically have ourselves almost a ready to run vehicle. Let's talk about this a little bit. This was quite the project. And the reason being is that, quote unquote, aftermarket parts, not that they're not any good, don't get me wrong, they're good. It's finding the right parts to fit. On a lot of the websites, places that you may order your parts from, it tells you that it fits on the project you're working with, from the big T company. Okay, well, sometimes those companies from overseas get 1/24th scale and 18th scale parts mixed up, or I did. Okay, so when I ordered the parts, I got some that were too small. The shocks and the drive shafts were the problem. Okay, everything else was not a problem. So we have a carbon fiber chassis. We have aluminum skid plates. We have steel axles. We have oil-filled shocks. We have bead-lock tires with aluminum wheels. We have aluminum links. Okay, the axles are composite, but they have steel gears inside. Okay, and that was just to keep the price of it down. I mean, I probably got a couple $100 in this. I'll figure it out and I'll put it up here on the screen. Okay, and you can buy one pre-made. I paid $83 for this one, but I changed the shocks. I put the same shocks on here, oil-filled shocks. I put aluminum links, aluminum skid plate, steel drive shafts, and new tires and wheels, and I put some brass weights to keep the weight down low. Now the only other thing I want to change on here is the motor, and I'm testing this motor in this one and the ESC, because the motor and ESC in this were kind of crappy. But all in all, we have pretty much the same vehicle, except we got a carbon fiber frame. I didn't put a carbon fiber frame in this one. It's still got the original framing. This is actually a pretty good vehicle because it has a hard body. Okay, this one's not going to have a hard body because the only hard body I could find was this one that I liked. So we are, speaking of body, we're making this into a power wagon. This is what it's going to look like. Now this body has a whole bunch of parts on it that I got to put on it. Lights, bumpers, windshield wipers, the whole 9 yards, okay? And the lights, I do believe they're buckets. Yes, they are. So you can put a light kit in it if you want to. Okay? So that'll be the next project. But today was tires and wheels and drive shafts. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.